Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
On this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, how vaccinating for bovine respiratory disease can help cattlemen protect their herd's value and performance. Plus, a new beef product that's getting a lot of attention.
And now, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. Topping this week's cattle industry news, the United States Secretary of Agriculture, Tom Vilsack, says USDA's operating budget will be slashed by over $1 billion if the current sequester stays in place. If Congress can't come to an agreement, $85 billion worth of cuts will go into effect this year and stay in effect until 2021. $1 to $1.5 billion of that would have to be cut from the United States Department of Agriculture. To accommodate these cuts, Vilsack says USDA would have to implement a 15-day furlough for all meat safety inspectors. NCBA Vice President of Government Affairs, Colin Woodall, hopes Vilsack will consider some different options to minimize the sequester's impact on the beef industry.
In some of his initial comments, Secretary of Agriculture Tom Vilsack actually said he was going to do a potentially 15 consecutive days of a shutdown. That would just absolutely paralyze our industry. It would restrict the flow of beef to our consumers, probably see an increase in the price of beef, and more importantly to our members is that it would back up the flow of cattle. And there would be even more expenses just to make sure that we are feeding and watering these cattle as we wait for the inspectors to come back on the job. Now, we hope that that's not the case. There are some other options out there where the Secretary could just choose to shut down plants one day a week or have rotating shifts. We're hoping that he actually looks at several options rather than just absolutely killing our industry. Unfortunately, though, he's already had an impact on us because his initial comments actually had some downward pressure on the futures market. So we've had members that have lost money because of his comments already.
The sequester is a topic that's far from over, and we recently had a chance to ask a few members of Congress to give us their thoughts on the issue. We have more in this week's Cattleman's Capital Concerns.
I think the simplest way to explain that sequestration is simply across-the-board cuts. And when you use this term sequestration, it sounds so ugly and we don't really know what to expect. But what it's really saying is across-the-board cuts. Not necessarily a bad thing, except that if you do that, what you're doing is you're kind of assigning those cuts that may be inordinate cuts in some places, and maybe you need to do deeper cuts in other places. And so you really need to take a more surgical approach.
Sequestration is not a good thing for the American economy or the American public. It's one of these things that was supposed to be so bad that it would force us to get to a budget deal. We didn't get to the budget deal. Now we're left with the so bad.
Well, everyone's concerned with sequestration because we don't know for sure what the impacts are going to be. We're hearing a lot of different programs that may be impacted by it. What I come back to is we need to have the president in charge. We need to see some leadership here, and we haven't seen that. It's the president's agencies, and I believe he needs to determine what needs to be cut.
Very poor way to do business, but it might be the only way that we can take a step to actually reduce spending. I firmly believe what I think almost everybody has said back here is that we do have a spending problem. There are people who apparently don't believe that. The President of the United States went to the State of the Union address and he proposed, 43 programs? But not one dime will be added to the deficit. I don't know how you do that. But the sequester started out with the Budget Control Act, and then we went to the Super Committee, and the Super Committee was not very super. So this was the Lizzie Borden axe that was to fall to make us come up with about 1.6 trillion, I think, over 10 years. That in of itself is not enough. But now this latest cut is 85 billion. Notice I said billion, bravo, okay? Beef. Trillion, tough. 85 billion? That's less than 3% of the 3.6 trillion. Every cattle operation out there has taken that kind of a cut. Any farmer, any rancher has taken that kind of a cut. So the way we're doing it is not very smart. We ought to be giving to Secretary Vilsack and other secretaries of various agencies and give them the flexibility to do what they would like to do.
What we're really talking about is how we try to get our nation's fiscal house in order, and how we take this fragile economic recovery and make it a strong, robust economic recovery. And the fact that we can't seem to agree here in Washington among my Democratic and Republican friends with the administration is, I think, something that is a poor reflection on all of us, period. And I'm not going to defend it. We should be able to make the decisions necessary to get our nation's fiscal house in order. And that involves making cuts surgically in areas that we need to make those cuts.
The National Cattlemen's Beef Association works hard every single day to make sure your voice is heard in Washington, D.C. Won't you join the fight to protect our industry and our way of life? Just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF or email us at c2c@beef.org. A representative is standing by right now to take your call. If you join right now, you'll get a 100 milliliter bottle of Dectamax injectable from Zoetis. And if you join NCBA as well as your state association, you'll get a 200 milliliter bottle. Again, the number to call is 1-866-USA-BEEF, or you can email us at c2c@beef.org. Factors from Hurricane Sandy to concerns of a lingering drought have caused cattle and beef prices to weaken, resulting in extreme losses for some in the feeding and packing sectors of our industry. But retail beef prices seem to be stabilizing, and cattle prices have begun to increase. So what can cattlemen expect in the coming months? We have more in this week's Market Watch.
Market Watch.
Joining me in the studio to discuss the beef retail trend is Trevor Amon, Director of Market Intelligence for the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Welcome to the show, Trevor.
Thanks, Kevin.
So talk to us about the performance of beef, both at retail and food service, that you're seeing.
All right. Well, we've seen retail performance very strong over the past 4 years. When you look at dollar sales, we've seen steady increases year over year. So what that's telling us is that consumers are really willing to pay higher prices and continuing to shop at the grocery store for beef. When you look at prices, retail prices in particular, we're starting to see them moderate, which is a good sign for consumers and some positive news for the industry, because compared to the past couple years, in 2011 we saw a 12% increase in retail prices. 2012, a lower increase of 7.5%, and in January of 2013, the most recent data that we have, we saw a 5% year-over-year increase. So they're moderating, and the expectation is that beef prices throughout 2013 will be more consistent with normal food inflation around 3 to 4%.
So how are consumers responding to these higher beef prices?
You know, the great thing about beef and beef's variety is there is a price point for everyone's budget. So when we start to look at consumer buying behavior and really how the economic downturn has shifted their purchasing behavior, we know that there's more than ever and still will continue to be a cost-conscious, frugal shopper really out there looking for deals. But on the other hand, they really love beef and they want to continue to include it in their diet. So when we break apart consumer demographics by income level, say, there's still a large percent of the population that's unemployed and struggling and really shopping for deals. But they still are finding ways to continue to include beef in their diet. When we look at the higher income level population, we are seeing a really strong rebound in terms of coming back and going out to eat at food service and really spending their money on beef. So a lot of positive signs. Another really interesting fact, when we look at age demographics, we focus a lot of our efforts on the millennial age group, those up-and-comers, the younger population who have many years of enjoying and purchasing beef ahead of them. And one thing about price, about that age group, is they are more comfortable with the price of beef. A higher percentage of them think that beef is priced about right compared to older generations. So somewhat less price sensitive, which is very good for us.
That's great news. And I want to ask you about this furlough we've been hearing about. You talk to a lot of retailers. What are they telling you about the potential impact at retail of this meat inspector furlough?
Well, the announcement in early March, what we do know is that those furloughs at the plant level are expected to not happen for a couple months, most likely in the July, August, September timeframe of this year. And we do know that it is mandated under the 1906 Meat Inspectors Act that that service is provided to provide meat inspection at the plant level. So when you look at the beef supply chain, you've got a steady pipeline of cattle, which turns into a perishable product of beef through a warehouse system, distribution system, and then all the way to retail and food service, ultimately to get to the consumer. So you just hope that those furloughs are spread out and that there's no major disruption in the supply chain, and ultimately that the consumer doesn't have any impact.
Indeed. Thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thanks, Kevin.
For more information about the beef retail market and beef prices, just log on to our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Herd health, I think, is a foundation for that calf to go to maturity.
What one New Mexico operation is doing to prevent a bovine respiratory disease outbreak, plus a program that's helping young ranchers break into the beef business. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman on RFD TV.
Celebrate the heart of America at the 2013 National Ag Day. It's March 19th in our nation's capital. The event honors America's agricultural community and its contributions to our country and our world.
So it's appropriate and absolutely necessary that we take, not just today, not just this week, but every day and every week, to thank American farmers, ranchers, and producers.
Generations nurturing generations. To learn more, visit agday.org. Respiratory disease is a significant animal health issue in the beef industry. It costs producers nearly $1 billion in lost profits each year, and it's the most prevalent disease in calves older than 30 days. So why not prevent respiratory disease before it steals from your bottom line? Vista Once protects your calves with the most complete respiratory disease coverage available, and Vision Blackleg vaccines can add 14 pounds per calf at weaning. For further information, contact your local veterinarian or animal health supplier.
There's only one place to find cattle industry updates, market highlights, and stories by cattlemen for cattlemen.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Learn about every segment of the industry, from cow-calf producers to feeders, from beef safety to food service and retail. Join host Kevin Oxner for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern on RFD TV.
At Cabela's Corporate Outfitters, our business is outfitting your business with everything from customized clothing and equipment to great incentives like gift cards and hunting or fishing trips. We carry more than 150,000 products, all backed by Cabela's world-famous commitment to quality and service, along with volume-based pricing for any size business or budget. You trust Cabela's with your outdoor experiences, so rely on Cabela's Corporate Outfitters to build your brand. Visit us today at Cabela's.com/B2B.
Welcome back. Bovine respiratory disease is a major problem for cattle, and it continues to cause serious economic losses for producers. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Sharon Alseth has more on how ranchers can help protect their cattle's performance and value by vaccinating for respiratory diseases.
Scott Bittigan's family has a long ranching heritage. The T4 Cattle Company in eastern New Mexico has been in business for more than a century, and Scott is the fifth generation to raise cattle on this land.
T4's been in our family for over 100 years, started in 1902, cow-calf operation, keep all our calves to their yearlings and then sell them.
There are many keys to success at T4 Cattle Company, but Scott knows the health of the herd is at the top of the list. It's important to get calves off to a good start and help bolster their immune systems early to help fight against costly and deadly respiratory diseases.
Herd health, I think, is a foundation for that calf to go to maturity. So we look at it very closely. We keep a close eye.
To me, it's a lot better to prevent a disease than it is to try to treat a disease. It's a lot more economical, and you get more satisfaction from prevention than you do going out and treating all the time.
Bovine respiratory disease remains the most economically devastating condition in the beef industry. Unfortunately, at T4 Cattle Company, they've experienced firsthand the negative impact of BRD.
One year it was kind of droughty, and we took our calves to the feed yard or grow yard because we ran out of grass. And that year they broke heavily. We lost probably 70, 80 head out of 500.
That's when Scott and his family turned to Enforce 3 from Zoetis, formerly Pfizer Animal Health. Enforce 3 helps protect against 3 major pneumonia-causing viral pathogens, including BRSV, IBR virus, and PI3 virus. And Enforce 3 is the first and only cattle respiratory vaccine labeled for prevention of disease caused by BRSV, which is especially important in nursing calves.
BRSV vaccine is important at branding time because I see too many calves that do not make it to weaning if they have not had BRSV vaccine.
In addition to superior BRSV protection, Enforce 3 helps stimulate a quick immune response. The intranasal mode of administration also helps provide local immunity in the nasal passages, where the respiratory viruses attack first.
I'm a believer in Enforce because of the theory behind it. When you give it through the nose, they respond to it quickly. So we started doing that at Brandon, and this last couple of years that we've used that, we've seen a great result in our calves. They're healthier. We're not seeing the respiratory disease or respiratory problems that we saw in the previous years.
Enforce 3 is a really good product to use at branding or turnout time in these young calves. It also stimulates what we call a mucosal response or a local response at the very point of where these viruses enter into these animals. Enforce 3 can prime the immune system by creating what we call a memory response. So above and beyond the immediate local response, it stimulates a memory of the immune system of these calves, so when they see a disease entity, a pathogen later on, or they see another vaccination, even in the form of a subcutaneous viral vaccine later on in life, the immune system basically says, I've seen that before, this must be very important for me to respond to.
Considering what happened a couple years ago when we lost all those calves at the feed yard, I truly believe if we'd used Enforce 3 beginning that year, we wouldn't have had that kind of a wreck on our hands. The cattle seem to respond to that quicker than what we were using before for the respiratory part.
If calves are not properly protected against respiratory viruses, they can weaken the calf's immune system, making them more susceptible to bacterial infection. That's why it's important that producers vaccinate their cattle against both viral and bacterial agents. Producers should work with their veterinarian to consider including a vaccine like One Shot in their program. One Shot helps provide protection against Mannheimia hemolytica, one of the top calf killers.
It's important for producers to be concerned about both viral and bacterial pathogens because they work in synergy and in a progression of events to ultimately end up in the bovine respiratory disease complex. One Shot is a good vaccine to consider to use to vaccinate against Mannheimia hemolytica. That is a bacterial pathogen and still generally accepted to be the #1 end-stage bacterial killer of calves in the bovine respiratory disease complex.
When I was in college, my dad had a real bad outbreak of Pastorella when we weaned. And we weaned everything here at the ranch, so when they started dropping, it was kind of opened their eyes to what was going on. And so Doc Tompkins got involved. They did a lot of research on what was going on with their calves and found out it was Pastorella, and the One Shot best fit our program at that point. So we give that at Brandon and at weaning. It's working very well.
We'll have more tips for preventing bovine respiratory disease when we return. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This business can take time away and become more of your family than your actual family. My days were tough. I had a lot of doctoring, a lot of pulling. Now our days on the feed yard are happy days. It's more about looking at the cattle and enjoying what we're producing versus the alternative, which is pull and treat and bang our head against the wall. We have never wavered from Draxxin. We've seen the benefits just keep getting better and better.
Join producers from around the country at the 2014 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Nashville, Tennessee.
It's an event that we will never miss.
I love seeing the enthusiasm. I think it's great.
It's a perfect combination and the perfect time to hold the NCBA convention.
Join your fellow cattlemen for the latest cattle industry news, education, networking, and fun. Plus, at the NCBA Trade Show, get the latest in industry technology for the cattle business.
This trade show is one of the best trade shows that is out there. It's amazing the amount of industry and businesses that come here to be a part in. And there's no other place that, for those of us as beef producers, can go to have this much information in one place.
So follow me to Tennessee for the 2014 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Nashville, February 4th through the 7th. Learn more at beefusa.org.
Welcome back. Let's return to reporter Sharon Alseth, who's learning more about how ranchers can help protect their cattle's performance and value by vaccinating for respiratory diseases.
While it's important that producers work with their veterinarian to develop a respiratory vaccination program that helps provide protection against both viral and bacterial pneumonia, it's also key that they use products that have been demonstrated to be effective when used concurrently.
We've done the research to show that Enforce 3 and One Shot are compatible, do not interfere with each other, and so therefore make a good choice at branding time and turnout because of that factor. One Shot we often use at branding or turnout time to get that 1-2 punch of a viral vaccination such as with Enforce, and then to vaccinate against the #1 end-stage bacterial killer, Mannheimia hemolytic, kind of a comprehensive program to give to these calves at that age.
If you can protect the virus and the bacteria at the same time, giving them like Enforce 3 and One Shot at the same time, and they do not interfere with each other.
In addition, some producers might want to consider adding a BVD vaccination to their program. For those producers concerned with BVD, Bovishield Gold BVD is available and can be used along with Enforce 3 and One Shot.
BVD is a complex disease entity even in and of itself. It certainly contributes to the bovine respiratory disease complex, but it also is a part of a reproductive consideration in cow-calf operations. The Bovishield Gold BVD is an injectable BVD that we can give in addition to the intranasal Enforce 3 to get as comprehensive of a viral protection program as possible.
If a ranch has a problem with BVD virus in their herd, and we've done some ear notch testing, IHC testing for surveillance on this ranch, and the BVD vaccine is one more avenue of helping control BVD virus in your herd.
We were using the Bovishield Gold 5 until we started using the Enforce. And we did not want to leave out the BVD, and since they made that available with just straight BVD, it was a no-brainer. We just brought it on and started using it.
Building an effective vaccination program begins with choosing the right vaccines, and it's essential that a veterinarian is involved in herd health decisions. Additionally, veterinarians can help producers look for vaccines with high quality control standards and the most science behind them.
I think it's very important to have a good team. My Zoetis rep and my vet are a crucial part of my decision making They're the experts in that field. The vet is an expert in all the health. My Zoetis rep is an expert in the vaccine and what it can do for my company, my cattle. I think that's a crucial part for anybody's operation, is to have that knowledge. Knowledge is power, and if you have that, I think you can go a long ways.
We undergo a lot of safety and efficacy research just in the approval of the products, and then continue to research those products in production situations to make sure that they're bringing optimal benefit to the producers and veterinarians that use and recommend them out there.
To me, a company that stands behind their products and has the research and development to prove whether it's good or what is just real important.
With nursing calves at branding or turnout, Enforce 3, One Shot, and Bovishield Gold BVD can help calves kickstart their fight against bovine respiratory disease.
A very comprehensive program of Enforce 3, Bovishield Gold BVD, and One Shot is a good idea because it allows us a very comprehensive approach to many or most of the pathogens that these calves need to be protected against as they go on into the production cycle.
Pounds pay, so if the calf can stay healthy its entire duration, that's just more pounds he's going to put on. It's going to be healthier for everybody involved with that calf.
Reporting from eastern New Mexico, I'm Sharon Alseth for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about Enforce 3, One Shot, Bovishield Gold, BVD, or any other Zoetis products, log on to our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. It's a new beef product that's adding some sizzle to the beef lineup. Coming up, we'll tell you why Schmacon is attracting so much attention. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You're not responsible for the weather, just the cattle. And Rangeland works as hard as you do to deliver performance, production, and profitability. Cattle need consistent nutrition. They'll get it year-round with Rangeland products from Land O'Lakes. Deliver what they need free choice in weather-resistant loose minerals and mineral and protein tubs. Get the most out of your forage. See your Land O'Lakes Co-op for products that will stand up to whatever Mother Nature throws at us. Weather's coming in. Rangeland. Consider it done.
Grow more low-cost forage and improve grazing access by clearing out weeds and brush with these Dow AgroSciences herbicides. See your Dow AgroSciences representative or visit rangeandpasture.com.
Welcome back. Each year, we take time at the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show to shine the spotlight on those who have contributed to the success of the beef industry. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has a closer look at the Best of Beef breakfast and one winning restaurant that believes beef is the secret to its success.
Many outstanding members of the beef industry were honored at the Best of Beef breakfast in Tampa. A variety of awards were handed out, including the Retail and Food Service Beef Backer Awards. This year's Food Service Innovator Award was won by Peacock Alley American Grill and Bar in Bismarck, North Dakota.
To be recognized nationally amongst all the restaurants, whether they're franchises, corporates, independents, all lumped together. And who doesn't serve beef? I mean, beef is virtually on every restaurant menu. So when you're up against all these guys, it's a very intimidating to begin with, but to be the winner, I mean, I can't even imagine a bigger honor than to be recognized by the cattlemen for this.
Beef is front and center at Peacock Alley. Dale and his wife bought the restaurant 2.5 years ago and decided right away to focus on beef dishes.
We just realized that beef makes the most sense. We can provide the freshest product, we can have it daily, and we have no supply chain issues. We have some of the greatest cattle ranchers in the entire country are right in our backyard. So it just made sense to do that. So we focused very hard our first year of coming up with a beef experience type of menu.
People from around the world visit this independent restaurant, and at Peacock Alley they've witnessed firsthand how cooking beef translates into increased sales.
In the last 2 years, since we changed our menu to a beef-focused menu, last year we finished up 102% in overall sales, and our fourth quarter alone we were up 215% from the previous year. So it's growing at exponential rates. Beef is a savior for companies like us, and when we have a chef and a team like we have that can focus on that beef experience and create that, it's unbelievable, the experience.
Reporting from the Cattle Industry Convention in Tampa, Florida, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Beef Backer Award winners are selected by a special judging committee. The committee takes into account leadership and initiative when it comes to marketing beef, as well as the operator's support of beef checkoff funded projects. For more information, visit our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. Consumers crave the unique flavor of beef, and it's important for the beef industry to create new products that meet the changing needs and desires of those consumers. As Brad Buller reports, attendees at this year's Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show got a first-hand look at some of the recent innovations that are fueling beef demand.
The Beef Innovations Group, which is funded by the Beef Checkoff, works to create new products that build beef demand. At the New Product Exchange in Tampa, producers and state beef council leaders had a chance to see some of these innovative products firsthand.
The New Product Exchange is an annual meeting we have with state beef councils to showcase what's new in the world of new products in the beef industry. What the Beef Innovations Group really tries to do is to come up with new products, new uses for products, and really provide new solutions for both retailers and food service operators and consumers especially.
One new product getting a lot of attention was Schmacon. Created by the Schmaltz Company, Schmacon will soon be adding some sizzle to the beef lineup.
Schmacon is beef's answer to bacon. It is a whole muscle product. It's a smoked and cured, sliced and glazed beef strip. It's going to find its way into mainstream because it's lower in salt, it's lower in fat, it's quicker to cook, it's safer because it arrives in a fully cooked, crisp and served state. And then it will be a condiment in burger joints and frankly on tops of steaks all across America.
Schmacon was a hit with those attending the New Product Exchange, and it seems these smoked and cured glazed beef strips are likely to stake out a place on the menu.
We sampled several different versions of Schmacon. We had a couple strips and then a Schmacon hamburger slider and then an Eggs Benedict with the Schmacon product on it. And I don't know if you could see around the room where it was being served, but everyone seemed to enjoy it really well, and I didn't see much product left on the plate. So I think it turned out pretty good, and people enjoyed it.
I think they enjoyed it very much. I think the typical reaction is almost shock. When you first look at the product, if you had regular pork bacon sitting side by side to it, you would say, this one I'm going to choose because it looks leaner, it looks like it's going to have a little more bite to it. And everybody has over and over said, overwhelmingly, they can't wait to see it in the marketplace.
Schmacon is just the latest product to benefit from the efforts of the Beef Innovations Group, which has provided their beef expertise every step of the way.
We've been working with this company, Schmaltz Deli Company, for a while now in terms of research and concept testing and so on to bring this to market. And now the Beef Checkoff is also going to be supporting the initial launch into the market as well. So yeah, the Beef Checkoff is certainly behind this product.
Honestly, if it weren't for the opportunities and the knowledge and expertise that the Checkoff and the group and Innovations has lent to us, we wouldn't be where we are today. It would have been a much slower development process. They were able to point out things to us and bring experts to the table very, very quickly.
From the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Tampa, Florida, I'm Brad Bullitt for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
For more information on the Beef Innovations Group and the projects they're working on, just log on to our website at cattlemantocattleman.org. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
At Merck Animal Health, we are dedicated to improving the health and well-being of animals through innovative science-based solutions. products, treatments, and services to ensure a dependable, affordable food supply. From cattleman to consumer, from farm to family, we're with you every step of the way. We work where you work. What drives you drives us. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
When it comes to versatility on your operation, nothing beats a John Deere D-Series skid steer. They're not only great for cleaning and feed chores, but with John Deere Worksite Pro attachments, you can tackle just about any job thrown your way. You asked for versatility, and John Deere delivered. These rock-solid machines are built to last. See your dealer today.
Hi, I'm Kevin Ochsner, host of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman and Colorado Rancher. Join me each week as the National Cattlemen's Beef Association brings you the latest updates in industry information and market news. Plus, each week we provide important educational information and features on cattlemen from across the country just like you. And we can't forget our favorite cowboy poet, Baxter Black. Join me for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, debuting Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern, right here on RFD TV. Welcome back. For many young potential ranchers, starting a herd from scratch seems nearly impossible. However, the Minnesota Youth Beef Experience program aims to change that. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has more on a program that's changing lives and the cattle business.
It's a really great program. I can't describe how awesome the program is for youth to get involved in the beef industry.
Emma Ulmer knows firsthand how the Minnesota Youth Beef Experience program can inspire a young rancher looking to get into the beef industry. The program finds cattlemen who are willing to donate heifers and connects them with qualifying young people like Emma.
For me, it gave me a chance to have my own heifer, get more involved with the feed records, training it completely 100%. Get involved with the beef prices and learning how to breed and sell and what you're looking for in breeding.
Each year, up-and-coming ranchers between the ages of 12 to 16 apply to win a heifer. The winning recipients are completely in charge of raising the animal for 1 year. They're also responsible for providing complete records on the animal's care.
They learn about the cattle industry. They learn about responsibility and caring for an animal. It takes a lot of dedication to take care of an animal.
It's helped all of these winners to learn more about beef management, moving forward with the industry, and then some of the management skills that goes along with raising beef cattle.
And once they win the heifer, they got to fill out forms kind of on a monthly basis on the feed and intake and get them bred, and then they got to bring them back to the next year and exhibit them here as well. They interview them as well. So I think it's a good way to be hands-on for the youth.
If the recipient has fulfilled all of their responsibilities after the year is up, the heifer is theirs to keep. Winners don't just get a heifer, they're also paired with a mentor who helps to guide them along the way.
After winning the heifer, I got really close with my sponsors, Lynn and Gail Nelson, through that whole experience. And so I went back with my money that I got from my achievement award. With that scholarship, I went back and bought a heifer from their farm to continue my herd.
With the price of cattle nowadays, it's kind of hard to get started. So we thought if we could help a young person out and get a herd of cows started, it's a good way to help them out.
The idea for this program came from Minnesota Beef Expo board members who realized each of them had an important mentor while growing up who helped to guide them in the right direction.
We all decided what would happen if we got people who really love the cattle industry and get them hooked up with young people who can't otherwise get into the cattle industry because of the cost and they don't know anything about it. Since 2004, we've given away 74 heifers and we've paired them with mentors, and it's been a terrific success, and we are super thrilled with how this program is going.
The Minnesota Youth Beef Experience program is an innovative way to inspire young people to become involved in, and most importantly, to stay involved in, the cattle industry.
From that first beef heifer, I grew my herd to, at one point, 15 or 16 females, and then of beef cattle, and then I had dairy as well, and a pretty diverse operation, and that helped me realize my passion for agriculture.
The recipients have been very happy and have gotten very involved in the industry and started their own herds, and I'm sure they'll give back in the future as well. And so I'm sure it'll continue to go on and grow.
Give these kids the opportunity to have a heifer, they will go out and do more good and hopefully have more cattlemen to help raise cattle in the future.
We want to see this industry thriving. We want to see other people being invited into the industry, and we just think these young kids are terrific representatives.
On the way down here, I was talking to my mom, if I can grow up and have my own herd of cattle, go around states showing, that's one of my dreams, and this has definitely made it come true.
Reporting from the Minnesota Beef Expo, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
The Minnesota Youth Beef Experience program is just one of several ways different organizations are trying to get youth involved in our industry. For more information on this program or other youth programs, just head to our website at cattlemantocattleman.org to learn more. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi there, I'm Joey.
And I'm Rory, and welcome to our farm outside Nashville, Tennessee. When we go to work, whether it's on tour or here at home, we wear the West.
That's right. Whether it's that perfect snap shirt or that perfect pair of boots, when you wear Roper, you wear the West.
Learn more about us, Joey and Rory, and about Roper Western Wear at eroper.com.
Telling the truth and being real, feeding my family a home-cooked meal. That's important to me. That's important to me. And planting the garden and watching it grow.
It's the official monthly publication of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. The National Cattleman is produced exclusively for NCBA members and includes coverage of the news and events affecting our industry. From Capitol Hill to the far side of cattle country, the National Cattleman provides information NCBA members need. Every issue includes market analysis, feature stories, and practical management tips. Start receiving your copy of the National Cattleman. Call 866-USA-BEEF or go online to beefusa.org and join today.
You may not think about beef as a fun and easy meal for your kids, but chances are this recipe will have them asking for more. Here in the studio to show us how you can turn steak into a bite-sized meal that's perfect for kids is NCBA chef Laura Hagen of the Culinary Innovations team. Laura, thanks for coming back to the show.
Absolutely, thanks.
One of my constant pet peeves in our industry is it doesn't seem like we've ever had a real response to the poultry industry's chicken nuggets that kids just love. But it looks like you've got something for us here. Tell us about it.
We think we found the answer. Obviously, we all love beef. So we wanted to find a cut that we could use to make a nugget of sorts and make it really super easy, make it fun for kids to do with their families, and simple, easy to cook. So what I have here is cube steak.
Oh, okay.
See cube steak in the store? Sure. It's actually a really nice, cheaper alternative to a standard sirloin or other steak. And it has some tenderization to it, so you have a cheaper cut, but it's tenderized.
Yes.
So you have a good chew to it as well. So when it cooks really fast, and it ends up being quite tender. So what I've set up here is a dredging station.
Okay.
So whenever you're doing anything that's breaded, you should set up this little station. Usually people will use like a shallow bowl. if you have something that's flat, like maybe a bigger steak or something along that lines, if you're doing country fried steak,
Sure.
we're doing these little bites, so I just put them in deeper bowls. Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm just going to take a couple, show you how we do it. First, we put it in flour.
That's just regular flour.
Regular all-purpose flour.
Yeah, good.
And what I like to do is I like to do the wet-dry rule.
Oh.
So with this hand, and obviously I have gloves on, so I'm not getting too goopy, but I like to do the left hand dry and the right hand wet.
Ah, okay.
So we don't get so goopy. So as you're doing multiple batches of these,
you don't end up with batter in the flour.
So I'm going to
right?
take this and I'm going to stick that in there.
Yeah.
Gingerly, and then I'll use my right hand.
Okay, and that's just, you just beat up eggs?
It is 2 eggs that we've just beaten up.
Yep.
Sounds terrible to say it that way, but whipped. We've whipped them.
That's right. We want to be very cautious not to beat eggs. All
and
right.
then obviously I'm going to put this in with my wet hand, but then I'm going to take it out with my dry hand.
Okay.
So we pop it there.
And what do we have here?
This is actually potato chips.
Oh, you're kidding.
We took those ridged potato chips and just broke them down. You can put them into a Ziploc.
Sure.
Run a rolling pin over them, or beat them with your fist, or however you want to do it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And this is what we've come up with.
Meat and potatoes right there.
Yep. They go onto a broiling pan.
Okay.
These come with every oven that consumers have at home. And we put a little bit of Pam spray.
Okay.
We put them in on the broiler pan like this. You can line it with foil, which is kind of nice, real easy to clean underneath.
Okay.
And then it goes into the broiler. So I like to do it on a high broil, so it's getting up there in temperature, 500 or so.
For about how long then?
These ones took 6 minutes.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, so
it's
really,
quick,
really
too.
quick. Really quick. And so there is our finished product there. We've got
and you're calling these popcorn steak bites?
Steak bites, yes.
I need to try one of these.
And you have ketchup there, but you can use mustard, you can use barbecue sauce, ranch dressing, whatever you'd like to.
That's perfect.
To have, whatever the kids like.
Fun, quick, and easy.
Great.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For this recipe and other great beef recipes, just log on to our website at cattlemantocattleman.org.
There are 2 things you need to know about Sweet Licks. Number 1, they offer a complete line of vitamin, mineral, protein, and medicated nutritional supplements. And number 2, they're available in a variety of forms and sizes. What you need, how you need it. For your nearest dealer, just pick up your cone and call 1-87 Licks. That's with an X.
Profitability never tasted so sweet.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
The market was so hot on Monday, the buyers were burning his door. The cattle he'd bought for 70 cents were bringing 6 bits, maybe more. And on Tuesday, they went even higher. And it was hard not to sell at that price, but he knew in his heart that tomorrow he'd win. He was rolling the dice. And on Wednesday, they went through the ceiling. He'd never seen fats go so high, but that afternoon, they were slipping. But that never worried our guy, because his broker and banker and guru had predicted the downslide was done. So at 10 o'clock that Thursday morning, our hero turned down 81. No way. Well, Friday broke dismal and dreary, and the market continued to fall, and he watched it go down to break even. Not even one buyer called, and that weekend, consulting the paper, his horoscope promised good news. That was sure worth a drink at the Elks Club, and he got snockered plumb out of his shoes. And Monday was gloomy, and Tuesday was bad, and the rest of the week he was cursed. And by Friday, the price of grain jumped up, and that just made him feel worse. And by midweek, he finally was offered a sure bid of 65 cents. But he held fast at $65.50. So the buyer packed up and went. Now, I know you're expecting a moral, explaining the lessons he learned about the man who thinks higher and higher, most likely gets his lower burned. But there ain't no use to pretend that a feeder, or one of their kind, would lock in a profit of 8 cents if he thought he could hold out for 9. And what of our hero, you're asking? Well, I guess I can tell you about that. He sold him for $62.50 and got docked for being too fat. This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter, for that marketing advice, and we'll be right back.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member. NCBA is my eyes and ears, and most importantly, my voice, because I can't be on Capitol Hill all the time. But my membership through NCBA has people that are there that know what my concerns are and can inform me when those issues come up that are affecting my day-to-day operations and can take actions on those appropriately.
I'm an NCBA member.
I'm an NCBA member because I believe that this organization is determined to preserve the way of life that those of us growing up in the cattle industry have grown to love.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member.
I am an NCBA member.
Join me today.
Welcome back. This week's Legacy Photos feature our new NCBA president, Scott George, on his operation in Cody, Wyoming. Let's have a look. To submit pictures of your farm or ranch and potentially see them on a future episode, just visit our website at cattleman2cattleman.org. Well, that does it for this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. We'll see you right back here next week on RFD TV.